On today's episode, we're going to talk about the slap heard round the world. Why am I talking about this? Well, it's funny you asked that. This came up in conversation recently with someone, and I realized I had a lot more, let's say more substantial thoughts about it than I realized I would. So we're going to talk about that, and maybe what I perceive to be really behind all of it. Let's get into it. Welcome to the Way of the Dad podcast, where we fearlessly dive into the depths of dadness. If you like what you are hearing, please share the podcast and give it a review on the platform where you listen. Thank you. Hey there, welcome back. So this is an episode I definitely never expected I would be doing, but I've been paying attention to a lot of the reaction to Will Smith slapping Chris Rock, and I kind of realized that, and some people have hit on this. I'm not going to sit here and say I'm the only one who's thought this through. Colin Cowherd on his podcast on the Volume, he had Adam Carolla on. They had a very interesting conversation. I know Joe Rogan has talked about it. But a lot of people are taking a very surface approach to it. And I think they're getting it wrong, to be quite frank. Getting it very wrong. Some of the snap reactions are, man, Will Smith was going up there, and I applaud him because he was defending his wife's honor. And some other ones are like, man, you need to apologize to Chris Rock. That was a pretty just tame joke, you know. You need to chill out, dude. But I think that misses a lot. Kind of like just look at it on the surface, say something about it, and let's move on. But think about it. Chris Rock said, and I'm going to assume that most people have seen the video, whether it's the uncensored version or the censored version, but Chris Rock made a joke. He was hosting the Oscars, and he made a joke about Jada Pinkett-Smith, who has alopecia and apparently has shaved her head because she can't really grow hair right now. And he made a G.I. Jane joke. And if nobody knows what G.I. Jane is, it's a movie about 20 some odd years ago. Demi Moore was in it, famously shaved her hair for the role because it was, if I remember correctly, I'm not an expert on this movie, but if I remember correctly, it was about the first woman passing the Marine standards, physical combat standards or something like that. Okay. But again, we're talking about 20 some odd years ago. It's kind of a, let's call it a throwback joke, you know. And Jada didn't like it. Will Smith goes up there, walks straight up to Chris Rock, and then I'll admit, quite quickly, turns from a relatively neutral posture, and I'm using my martial arts background here to kind of analyze this, goes from a very neutral posture, which does not really show that he's playing. It's not like he's waving his right hand, like winding that puppy up. You know, it goes from no threat to boom pretty quickly. I mean, not that I'm going to sit here and give him props for his technique, but he didn't telegraph what he was going to do. You know, and then he slaps Chris Rock, turns around and walks back down to his seat, sits down. Of course, Chris Rock is literally dumbfounded, which I can only imagine. First of all, I'm pretty sure that's never happened to his entire career, and he's been roasting people in the front row forever. That's what you do at the Oscars. That's what you're paid to do. Usually it's comedians hosting the Oscars, usually. And I learned this. They have, like, for the comedians who are hosting, leading up to it, they have apparently white and black pictures, according to Adam Carolla. They have white and black pictures set at all the seats so the comedians know where everybody's going to be sitting. So this is a very well orchestrated event. And Chris Rock, or whoever's hosting, them and a bunch of other comedy writers, they get together, they throw together some fairly mild and tame jokes. Ricky Gervais is the exception to this. That way everybody can kind of have a little fun with themselves, show that they're not taking themselves too seriously, which is hilarious considering it's the Oscars and they take themselves way too damn seriously. I mean, these people think they're literally tip of the iceberg. So Chris Rock is just doing his job. On a G.I. Jane joke, let's just be honest. Chris Rock has way better content than that, if quality-wise, if that's what he wanted to pull. So Will Smith sits back down, and then, Chris Rock says, man, I just got slapped by Will Smith, and then Will Smith yells out, keep my wife's name out your effing mouth. And Chris Rock's still kind of, let's say he's shocked, okay? He's still trying to take in what just happened. And he says, man, it was just a really mild joke. And Will Smith, with a lot more oomph behind it the second time, repeats himself saying, keep my wife's name out your effing mouth. And then Chris Rock does, honestly, I'll say, maybe one of the best jobs I've ever seen of someone who literally is still trying to process what just happened. And he rolls with it, and he just takes the ship and just, okay, we're going to steer over here now. And he just moves the whole production on. And I know that, people are talking about, oh my gosh, the Academy Awards, how are they condoning this? And they sent out a pretty, gutless, spineless tweet about how we don't condone violence of any kind, blah, blah, blah. But then they still gave him an Oscar for, I think for King Richard, Best Actor for King Richard. I'm not going to get into the Oscars because I think they're trash anyway. I think the Oscars and the organization, the Academy Awards organization, I think they're all as morally bankrupt as humanly possible. It's gotten to the point where it's just a back-patting contest and how, oh my gosh, how amazing you all are. And, you're amazing. No, you're amazing. And you're pretty. No, you're pretty. And you're amazing. And the best actor. No, you're the best actor. Who cares? I don't care. I haven't cared about the Oscars. Well, I don't even know if I was drinking then. And I'm 41 now, so let's at least go with 20 years. So, anyway, what I really want to focus on is a little below the surface. And I'm going to go with what we know, because I can't talk about things that I don't know. If I get new information, then that might change my opinion. But here's what we know. We know that Will Smith and Jada Pinkett-Smith have been very public about their relationship. Way too damn public about their relationship, in my opinion. But that's what they've done. Because I guess they have a podcast, or they've been on interviews and stuff. And they've been very open. And in this quote, so I'm going to say she's been very open about her past infidelity. Okay? So she has admitted that she has straight up cheated on Will Smith. And I gather not just once. So yeah, Jada's been very public, I guess now, that her and Will have a quote-unquote open relationship. Which basically means that they're open to sleep with whoever they want, but they're still married together. Look, I know how I'm built, and that would never fly. I just can't do that. I just can't treat intimacy and sex that cavalierly. That's just me. I know who I am in that regard. But I know that there are people out there who can do that. Good for them. Here's the problem, though. It seems fairly obvious. This could be a misread of the situation, but it seems fairly obvious. Seeing excerpts and clips of the videos where they've talked about this. I'm not a body language expert, but I have picked up some skill in that area doing the job I do. Or doing my day job, I guess. I read people. I have to understand who I'm talking to as I'm working with them so that I can help them achieve the goals that they're looking to achieve. And sometimes people don't realize how much they're maybe sabotaging their own goals. So part of my day job is learning to read people quickly and assess what kind of personality type am I talking to. How are they going to respond to maybe a more firm and direct type of conversation versus maybe a little softer and roundabout, conversation, more suggestive as opposed to direct. But my ultimate goal is to help them reach their goals. And so that's a roundabout way of talking about what I do for my day life or my day job. Reading Will Smith's body language, his facial expressions, it looks like he's in a lot of emotional pain when Jade is talking about this stuff, talking about her infidelity, talking about their open relationship. And I see something that doesn't look right. Like I hear words, but I'm looking at something that tells me those words are not quite accurate, or at least not accurate for both people in this relationship. Never forget, a relationship is a two-person endeavor. It is a team. A successful relationship is a team. And that requires both people to be on the same page. So saying that, let's step back. Let's step back to the initial incident. Chris Rock makes a very mild joke. Extremely mild. Will Smith's reaction is to literally walk, I'm going to guess about 70 to 100 feet, all the way right up to him with no obvious intent that he's going to go up there and do something. And of course, no reason for anybody to expect he is, because that's never happened before. Very quickly goes from a non-threatening posture to a striking posture, cracks him across the face, walks back, has a little strut in his step, by the way, if you ever notice when he walks back. Like he feels good. He got a little something out. Exorcised a demon or something like that. He's feeling himself a little bit. So he walks back. And let's look at that. What was the initial, let's call it a cause and effect, or a stimulus and a reaction? The stimulus was the joke. Very mild. I'm sorry, that was an extremely mild joke. And a rational, sane, emotionally healthy, let me say that, an emotionally healthy person might have said what Will Smith said afterwards, might have said that first. Keep my wife's name out your effing mouth. But that's not what happened. He didn't start with that. He finished with that, strangely. Started with, I'm going to go up and, forgive my use of the term because I don't really like this word, I'm going to go up and bitch slap Chris Rock. Show him what's what. That's an exponentially larger reaction to the stimulus that was provided. That would be like an American soldier and a Russian soldier getting in a little bit of a tussle, doing joint training drills. And in response, America nukes Russia and wipes it off the map. That doesn't really seem like it tracks, right? That seems like an extraordinary reaction to the initial thing, right? Someone flicks you on the back of the hand and you break their back. That's pretty extreme. So that's what we saw. And make no mistake about it. I'm sorry if you disagree, that's fine. That is what we saw. We saw an extreme reaction to a mild stimulus. It's a very unbalanced equation. If we want to think mathematically or scientifically, that's a very unbalanced equation, which leads me to see that this was less about Chris Rock and his massive insult to Jada, and this is very much about Will Smith. What you saw was in my opinion, again, based on what I do know, I don't live in their house, I don't live in their lives, but they've made a fair amount of their life public, which, hey, look, good for you. No thanks for me. Not because I have anything to hide, but I don't see the reason to air out my dirty laundry, or even my pretty damn clean laundry. It's just weird to me. But we've got a fair amount of information, and I think we just got a real clear window view into where Will Smith is at mentally right now. And none of this is to say that I pity him or envy him or any of that stuff, because look, They're regular human beings. I don't care who they think they are. I don't care how important they think they are. They get diarrhea the same as we do. They put their pants on the same way. They get boogers and respiratory infections the same way we all do. Sure, they have access to probably a little bit better health care and paid chefs to make sure that they eat the right stuff all the time and whatever. But they are no more special than anybody else. And sometimes I really like to look into why it happened. Why do I think this happened? Especially when it seems a little off. I think this happened because this unbalanced reaction to the stimulus happened because Will Smith is unbalanced right now. And I'm not making any snide jokes about mental health or anything. I'm being very legit right now. Having experienced things like this myself, where you're in an unbalanced relationship and things are not going well, and you haven't been happy in a very, very long time. I've been there. I've lived that. Learned my lessons. Don't want to do it again. Thank you very much. And I'm blessed right now where I'm at. Kind of one of those things where you want to try to make sure you stay grateful. But Will Smith's not in that position right now. I don't believe. I think that was a microcosm of his marriage. Because his marriage is very unbalanced by all appearances. Jada's talking about how they have an open relationship. Doesn't look like Will Smith wants to have an open relationship. He wants to have his wife. And she wants to have him and anybody else. So that's what I think this has a lot to do with. I think Will Smith is stuck in a very unbalanced place, an unbalanced relationship, in an unbalanced mental position at the moment, in an emotionally unbalanced. And I think this has a lot to do with the fact that he is probably, I'm imagining, and I'm trying to guess at this, feeling pretty emasculated right now, feeling pretty humiliated, and maybe even deep down in his soul, he's feeling pretty broken right now. You know, there's jokes that guys make when their wives kind of run them and own them. And I feel like that's probably where things are at this point, where Jada really runs the whole show, wears the pants, so to speak. His balls are in a jar and she keeps them on a shelf for him. You know, maybe he gets them once in a while or something like that. That's kind of jokes guys will make back at other guys that they perceive to be in a female dominant relationship. But I think that's in some ways where he's at right now. It's pretty obvious that Jada's dominating the relationship based on, like I said, interviews, body language, things like that. And it's pretty obvious to me that he wants his wife. He wants to be there for his wife. He wants to do whatever he needs to do for her, except the things that she wants him to do for her or allow go against, like, the very nature of his soul. They go against everything he believes. And I'm not even getting into religious background or anything like that. I'm just talking about she wants a deal, a setup that he's not good with, but that he's trying to force himself to maybe be good with. I see a man who has gotten so far off of his path, his comfortable area, to maintain a marriage where the reciprocity's not there, the teamwork's not there, the back and forth mutual respect is not there. She's happy with the arrangement, but I don't believe he is. And so what was the slap really about? I'm going to wrap this up with this. Was the slap really about him going up there to defend his wife's honor? No, I doubt that. I mean, he's probably going to play it that way to her, because I see a man who's kind of broken down, almost like Stockholm Syndrome, where the hostage falls in love with the hostage taker. And so I don't think it was anything about defending his wife's honor at all. I think it was about him trying to reclaim just a little bit of his independent manhood. I really think that's what this was about. Because he feels emasculated right now. Broken. Humiliated. Publicly humiliated. And maybe people are making jokes about him. You know, of course, they're calling him a cuck, or cuckold. And I don't think he is one, because those are the kind of guys that say they actually like it when they watch their wife be pleasured by another man. I don't think he likes it at all. And so I think this is a way of him regaining some of his masculinity. And it's really sad. So anyway, kind of a deep one, a little bit serious. But it was one that I found, the more I watched it, the more I looked into it, the more I found it kind of, I don't know if fascinating is the right word, but let's say the more depth I perceived was there than what we were talking about on the surface. So, anyway, let me know what you think. I'd love to hear from you if you think I'm totally getting this wrong, or if I'm dead on, or whatever. But let me know what you think. Reach out on the Facebook page. You can reach out direct, Way of the Dad Podcast at gmail.com. And until next time, take care and have a great day. Thanks for listening. The Way of the Dad podcast is produced and recorded by, well, me, a stunningly average husband and father, who appreciates all of the likes, shares, reviews, and support you give. If you would like to reach out, you can find the podcast on its Facebook page, and of course you can email me at wayofthedadpodcast@gmail.com. Come back next time as we continue to fearlessly dive into the depths of dadness.